Hey guys, what's going on? Brian here with Classic GBody Garage. Today I'm going to be working on this 1986 Monte Carlo. I bought the car a couple of months back. It needs a little bit of TLC. It's really not all that bad, but the carpet itself is nasty. It's over 30 years old. It has all sorts of stains on it. It has some fading. It has some wear, and it just needs to be replaced. Now I do plan on fixing this car up, getting it back on the road and putting it up for sale. Now I have been featuring this car on the Classic GBody Garage Facebook page and Instagram page, so make sure you guys are following along there. I'll put the links in the description below. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on the Classic GBody Garage YouTube channel. I have all sorts of cool stuff that I know you guys will want to check out and keep following along. So regarding replacing the carpet in this car, it's pretty much the same among any car or truck, new or old. It's just a matter of pulling the seats out, center console if you have it, a couple of trim panels, ripping that carpet out, dropping the new carpet in, and it's just a matter of reversing the process. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by removing these bucket seats, and to get to the bolts you need to remove these plastic seat track covers, which are held on with some Phillips head screws. Once the covers are removed, you can access the 13mm bolts that hold the seats to the floor. Now you can grab a hold of the bucket seats, pull up, and lift them out of the car carefully. Now I can go ahead and remove the lower back seat cushion, and to do this you have to push on the very bottom of the seat frame and push it towards the back of the car, and it'll pop up on its own. Sometimes you got to get down in there and put a little behind into it. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove these sill plates and B-pillar panels using a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the screws. Next step is removing the kick panels, and these literally just pull out of place. There's a clip on the back side. Just pull up and out. Now the driver's side kick panel, where the 81 through 88 G-bodies have the computer, there's a Phillips screw right here. The older models, the 78 to 80, that don't have a computer, the removal is just like the driver's side, but having the computer here, it's a little bit different. Just got to remove that screw. Kind of just lifts out of place. See, the clip fell out of place. And then the panel just go ahead and pulls out. To remove the shifter handle, take a small flathead screwdriver and remove the U-shaped clip on the base of the shifter handle, and then the handle pulls up. Then remove the shifter cover with a Phillips head screwdriver. Next, I'm going to remove the center console. Now each console is held down differently, so make sure you pay attention and do not force anything. The console is held down with some 10mm bolts. Once those are removed, the console lifts out of place. Alright, now it's time to remove these seat belts, and I want to give you guys a little trick on removing them. So the tools that are needed when removing the seat belt is going to be a T50 Torx bit, and then you're going to go ahead and remove these covers here, and they just literally just kind of pry off. And down inside here is a Torx bolt. Now these Torx bolts are secured from the factory with a Loctite, because they don't want these seat belts coming loose. And they are extremely tight, and of course if your car is rusty from the underneath, because the threads protrude through the floorboard and are exposed to the elements, so the threads on the back side have some rust on them, so that makes it even more difficult to remove. So one of the tricks that I like to do to make sure that these don't strip out, because they have a tendency to strip out, these Torx bits into the bolt here, I just take a screwdriver, clean it out, and put it in the bolt there, and then I go ahead and I set the socket into the bolt, and that allows it to get placed in there flat and less of a chance to strip out. And of course you want to spray the threads on the back side with a little bit of penetrating oil before you I'll loosen this up and that'll help things get moving. So let's see if we can get this thing loose. And the bolt is going to be difficult for the most part, removing all the way out, just because of the gooey Loctite that the factory uses upon assembly. And when you thread it back in, make sure the threads are clean, because with all that goo inside of there we go. That bolt has some Loctite on there. You can see there's some blue on the threads and it's kind of gooey as well. So these have a tendency to cross thread when you put them back in. So make sure you put them in straight and the threads are clean. Now on the driver's side, there's a wire that's going to be attached to the seatbelt itself. And what this is this is your seatbelt buzzer and your seatbelt light. So when you don't have your seatbelt plugged in, this is the wire that triggers the light on the dashboard. So just go ahead and release that plug. And then you'll go ahead and remove the seatbelt. Make sure you don't forget to fish this wire back through the carpet. It just goes through a slit in the carpet right there, so you can attach it back to your seatbelt. It's a good idea to remove the shifter because it makes it a whole lot easier when removing the carpet. Now the shifter is held down with a series of bolts, and don't forget to disconnect the cable from the shifter as well. Finally, remove the carpet. Alright, I have the carpet pulled out, and as you guys can see, the reason I'm replacing this carpet, I mean, it's pretty nasty. All sorts of stains. Who knows what that was or what it is, but the carpet is in pretty rough shape. Now I do have some carpet that'll go back in it that is out of a low mileage Monte Carlo, so that'll go real nice in this car, but I want to show you what the floorboards look like. And the driver's side has a little bit of surface rust. The rear floor pans on the passenger, or the passenger compartment I should say, no rust there. Now there is a hole right there, right in front of the seat bracket. Now that really isn't all that bad. All the rest of that is surface rust that will clean up with the wire brush and a vacuum. So I'm going to go ahead and get moving on that. But I wanted to show you what the floorboards look like. And regarding that little hole right there, like I said, it's not all that bad. So I'm just going to cut out a small little piece and put a little bit of RTV to seal it back up. Brush on some paint to seal everything up, and we'll be good to go to put the carpet back in. Put down some Duplicolor rust barrier, brushed it down on the floor. If you guys saw earlier in an earlier post, the floor was rusted. It did have some surface rust. I scraped it up, vacuumed it, cleaned it, and laid down a little bit of that rust barrier. And as you guys can see, things are looking pretty good. Alright, so as you saw, the floor is looking good. I had to piece in a small section right there. Driver's side is in good shape. Passenger rear floors are in good shape. So now I'm ready to drop in the carpet. So here it is right here. It came out of a low mileage Monte Carlo SS. It's in very nice shape. There is absolutely no wear on this carpet. Just a little bit of light dirt, which I'll give it a light scrubbing once I get it in. I'll vacuum it out. But I don't want to saturate the carpet. It's hardly dirty at all. But wanted to show you guys what it looked like. And since it came out of a Monte Carlo SS, it is already cut out for the floor brackets for both of the bucket seats, and of course the console as well. So this thing will drop right in with no issue, so let's get going. So got the carpet laid down. It's loosely sitting in here just because I have to start assembling the interior pieces. And I'm gonna go ahead and start that by dropping in the shifter, followed by the console. Guys, what's going on? Brian here with Classic GBody Garage, just working on the T-Top Monte Carlo. Dropped the carpet into place, nice new carpet. Doing a little bit of filming for the Classic GBody Garage YouTube channel, and I'm installing the center console. So a common issue that happens with the center consoles in Monte Carlos, El Caminos, or Malibus is right where it mounts on the shifter, it breaks. You can see this one's busted on both mounts. This one's broken completely through. So what I do is I make myself a metal plate, drill some holes in it, and then I put the screws in place. And what that does is it acts as a reinforcement plate, so the console stays nice and strong in place, doesn't wobble around, and doesn't break apart any further. And then same goes with the back bolts. It goes down right there in the little cubby hole in the compartment area. I use some large washers and put those in place so it keeps things nice and secure. So just wanted to give you guys a little tip on what I've done over the years. Next, install the seat belts, and don't forget to plug in your wire for the seat belt buzzer. And then also, you want to make sure that you have this plastic bushing on the bolt, because what that does is it'll keep the seat belt nice and tight and upright. For those of you who have bucket seats, if you don't have that plastic bushing in there, the seat belt will just flop around, and then it'll just fall down in between the console and the seat. So make sure you have the plastic bushing. It compresses when you go ahead and tighten the bolt, and it'll keep everything in place. There we go, nice and snug and in place. Go ahead and reinstall the B-pillar trim with the 3 screws that you removed earlier. Reinstall your kick panels. Next, go ahead and install the sill plates. That will help keep the carpet in place, and you want to make sure that you tuck the carpet around the seat belt here. There's a little split in it right there, just wraps around and tucks underneath this little boot right here. And then go ahead and make sure the carpet is tucked in underneath the sill plate before you tighten everything up. Install the rear seat. Alright, it's finally time to install the seats, and it's a good idea while the seats are out to make sure you oil up those seat tracks and make sure all the mechanisms are functioning properly and make sure the tracks roll smoothly. Alright guys, the interior is all put back together on this car. The carpet, of course, is in place, and it made a huge difference with this car, because considering what it looked like before, how nasty it looked, how bad it smelled, and things are looking and smelling great in this car. And this is a job that you guys can do without any problems at all. The process is going to be the same between any car or truck. Simple task of basically removing the seats, removing some interior trim, pulling that carpet out, giving the floorboard some treatment if you have some rust issues like I did, get some good quality paint to put down and seal things up so you don't have any problems there in the future, sliding that new carpet in, putting the interior back together, of course cleaning it while you have it out. That'll be a huge difference. Of course, to get it smelling and looking good. The T-tops are off on this Monty. It is a beautiful day and I am ready to cruise with this fresh new interior. If you guys have any questions, make sure you post a comment below. I will answer any question that you guys have. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you're following Classic G-Body Garage on both Instagram and Facebook. I have all sorts of cool stuff to come here in the future. Until the next Classic G-Body Garage video, make sure you keep those G-bodies rolling.